we go. Zachary Alexander is on your left, Caleb Scherer on your right. It's Affinity versus Blue Red Gift Storm. These players will be given the green light and will be underway here in round number 11. And Zachary's going to make it known very quickly what he's up to with an Inkmoth Nexus and a Springleaf Drum, but not the fastest of starts, Craig.
Yeah, that's not the start I was looking for the Affinity player to have. He needed to deploy 4 or 5 cards on turn 1, have a payoff card on turn 2, Master of Ethereum, Cranial Plating, something like that. This is a pretty slow start for an Affinity deck.
An Arcbound Ravager and now Springleaf Drum will help cast a Vault Scourge, which will bring Zachary down to 18, but we could see him gain some life later on in this game. Over to Caleb will go, who just started with the Steam Vents. Sleight of Hand is a spell we might see him start things off with, and he will. So he'll take a look at 2 cards, and he'll get to take one with him. Peer Through Depths and Spire Bluff Canal, the options.
Of note, Zach has shown up here with 4 Galvanic Blasts in his main deck.
Okay.
And that can be pretty important. You got to take out the cost reduction creatures on the Storm side of things.
Yeah, Baral, Chief of Compliance, and Goblin Electromancer are kind of the centerpieces of this deck.
Yeah, they are what make it tick.
Caleb has found a card that he's happy with off the sleight of hand. Keep in mind he hasn't played a land just yet, but he'll play his Steam Vents tapped and pass the turn back. Over to Zachary Alexander we go. He'll draw. This is an Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah, in a lot of games you'll see Affinity just be empty-handed by this point.
Leads me to believe he's got a lot of his 2 and 3 mana spells, Platings. Arcbound Ravager, Steel Overseers, Master of Ethereums, maybe even the 1 Etch Champion. Now you've played some Affinity in your day, and it is really just kind of this big math problem.
Yes.
A lot of the time.
Yep, figure out how to get to 20.
Or with Inkmoth Nexus, how to get to 10.
Yep.
And in a matchup like this, you might have a lot more interest in getting to 10 than 20. There's a Master of Ethereum. Vault Scourge is going to come in here for, it looks like, 2. So Zachary's going to go back up to up to 20, it should be, and Caleb will take 2. Pass the turn back. So it's not an explosive start, but it could be a kill next turn through Inkmoth Nexus, potentially, Craig.
Yeah, and it's funny, back in the day, Arcbound Ravager used to increase your damage by a whole ton because you had Disciple of the Vault. And so you're able to sacrifice artifacts, getting +1/+1 and dealing damage to your opponent. The current builds, every time you sacrifice an artifact to the Ravager, you generally are at a wash in the damage that you're dealing. Because Master of Ethereum gets smaller, or your Cranial Plating gets smaller.
Well, it could be go time here. Caleb's got 5 red.
It does look like go time.
Yeah, and this would be turn 3 if he's able to win this turn, which would be very impressive from his deck. It's generally a turn 4 deck. As here's Manamorphose. There's the Caleb Scherer Storm token that he did earn from winning that Las Vegas Invitational that I mentioned earlier. Here's Gifts Ungiven. Well, look for 4 cards. I think this is probably the ritual package that we oftentimes see.
Yep. 3 mana sources, and the Past in Flames is the usual.
So that's Pyretic Ritual, Desperate Ritual, Manamorphose, and Past in Flames. There's the big 4.
And these are all the pieces.
And this might just lead him to a win right now. Past in Flames and Pyretic Ritual is what Zachary is going to give Caleb. Remember, all these spells cost 1 less. So, Manamorphose and Desperate Ritual will go to the graveyard along with the Gifts Ungiven. Now that it's resolved, Pyretic Ritual will bring Caleb up some more mana. And of course, another spell. Now here is Past in Flames in a moment. Yes. That's spell 7. A red and a blue floating. Now we get to have some fun through the graveyard. Pyretic Ritual, going to bring him up to 3 red and a blue. How about another one? 5 red and a blue. He's happy to gifts now. It's got 3 red floating. Some Desperate Rituals in the graveyard along with 2 copies of Manamorphose. I think this is where we see a grape shot get involved.
Yeah, 3 rituals and a grape shot is what I'm expecting to see here. He just needs to generate enough mana, enough storm to win the game with the grape shot. So if the grape shot ends up in the graveyard, he will have to flash back the Past in Flames in order to be able to cast the grape shot out of the graveyard. So like you said, a lot of this is just a math problem, just getting enough mana while also generating enough storm.
2 rituals will go to hand. Other rituals go to the graveyard. You see Caleb has separated his graveyard because he's got one graveyard that is based around Past in Flames and one that is not. And that other graveyard that has the Pyretic, the Desperate, the Manamorphose, and the Grape Shot, well, he'll cast Past in Flames to be able to get access to that now. So now his graveyard is just one big stack. That's spell number 13. Manamorphose will be spell number 14. 10-3 kills pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, this is impressive, and you know, this will always beat the Affinity deck if you can go off on turn 3.
Yeah.
Peek, a little extra information.
Yeah. All right, you got a mountain. Good to know.
All right, modern players, you have 50 minutes on the clock. You may begin.
Good to know. From 10th edition, look at target player's hand, draw a card, instant speed. It's no Gataxian probe, but few things are.
But it's instant speed.
It is.
It's instant speed, you know? They fixed it.
They sure did. Caleb Scherer is going to win again, everyone, here over Zachary Alexander. Blue-red Gift Storm very quickly up a game over Affinity, and for Zachary, it's got to be faster than that.
Yeah, I mean, his start was pretty slow that game. It's possible he wasn't sure what he was playing against, and that's why he kept a slower hand. But now with the information, I expect some aggressive mulligans if his hand isn't very explosive. And, you know, even if his hand was explosive that game, I think he's still just losing. Caleb had just a spectacular start.
Yeah, Caleb's start was fantastic. A little bit of manipulation, Goblin Electromancer, and kill you on turn number 3, which I generally think of this version of Storm as a turn 4 deck.
Yes.
A lot of the time where they have to take the turn to Gifts Ungiven and then go off the next turn. But it wasn't necessary there. So we'll take a look at Zachary Alexander's board. He's got 3 Etch Champion, 2 Relic Progenitus, 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Spell Pierce, a Whip Flare, a Gear Pow Aether Grid, a Grafdigger's Cage, a Wear Tear, a Dispatch, and a Thoughtseize. You have to imagine the discard spell is going to come in, but what else do you like?
Yeah, the Thoughtseize seems good here. I can see the Spell Pierce coming in as well. Just disrupting their first ritual is going to prevent them from going off that turn. And I can also see the Relic of Progenitus coming in as a way to eat their graveyard when they're trying to use it.
For Caleb, 3 Empty the Warrens, 2 Swan Song, 2 Dismember, 2 Pieces of the Puzzle, 2 Lightning Bolt and Echoing Truth, and a good one there in 3 Shattering Sprees.
Average spell in this matchup.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy for him to do with all these rituals.
So Caleb can he can go the creature route here, where he sides in all the Empty the Warrens and the Shattering Sprees, and he just says, all right, like let's do it that way. Like I'll storm up and just make 6, 8, 10 goblins, and then I'll blow up a few of your things, and 2 or 3 attack steps will win me the game.
Yeah, I'm curious what he's going to do in this matchup, because you can go the creature route. I don't think it's the worst plan. He could just go the normal route, which obviously just worked this game, but you know he's going to go the Shattering Spree route.
Yeah.
That part's easy. He might go the Dismember route and a Lightning Bolt route and try to interact a little bit. I've watched Caleb play enough where he does like to sideboard into interaction as opposed to ignoring the opponent, so I'm curious to see how much interaction he wants to sideboard into here. Those are the options there for both players. Caleb wins a pretty quick game number 1, so game number 2 will be underway here in just a moment. Let's talk about the Jolly Rover playmat that is going to be available at your Ixalan pre-release, so long as your store is signed up to take part in this awesome program. We've got this exclusive playmat available at participating stores. It's the Jolly Rover. What were you calling that fish yesterday?
A fish.
Dinosaur fish? Is that what it was?
Prehistoric aquatic creature.
Ah, right. That's what you believe is in the water there, along with all of our other friendly animals in the Jolly Rover playmat. Now, the Ixalan pre-release is taking place September 23rd and 24th, and if you want to find out if your store is participating, head over to go.starcitygames.com/pre-release so you can find a participating store near you and get the Jolly Rover playmat. Mention that Caleb is a former Invitational champion, won an Invitational back in 2015 when we were in Las Vegas. Did a 29-year-old from St. Louis, Missouri. Got his 4th Open top 8 last weekend in Syracuse with Storm. He's got 2 Invitational top 8s with that one victory in Vegas back in 2015. Big mathematics man, big peanuts fan, and he's basically at all of these things. That's why he lives almost entirely out of his backpack. And he's off to another strong start here yet again with Storm in Modern. This Blue Red Gift Storm deck is very popular in Modern. It was very popular last week. It put up some really good results. Only 4 players making day number 2 of competition, and all 4 players made a very deep run with 2 of them in the top 8.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a strong deck.
Yeah. And 2 of them on the outside looking in as well. So,
well, like we've said, the Modern, metagame, the landscape is just so diverse. You can't hate out everything. You can't have sideboard cards for everything. So a lot of it is, a big advantage if you show up with a very focused strategy that people aren't hating out at that time.
but to me, that's also a good thing. I think that's also a thing that's good about Modern.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Can't beat everything. Can try to beat a lot of things. And all the decks are really powerful. Makes for some fun magic.
No, we like it from this end, that's for sure.
That is for sure. Darksteel Citadel into a Vault Scourge is where Zachary Alexander is going to start. Show me a Mox. Show me an Ornithopter.
I believe that's 2 Ornithopters.
Yeah, I think you're right. I need some permanents on the battlefield.
He's got the oldest possible Ornithopter and then the newest possible Ornithopter.
And a Vault Scourge that's going to get a little bit of damage in. There's the new Ornithopter.
I like that artwork.
That's very cool. As we see a Spire Buff Canal from Caleb and simply a passing of the turn. No manipulation as a Darksteel Citadel is going to come down here for Zachary. This is the Mox Opal. Do we have any follow-ups? Yes, and Cranial Plating. Now this is the start we were looking for.
Yep.
Going to put it on the Vault Scourge. In.
Big punch, and the life gain is definitely significant against the Storm deck.
Yes, it is, as Zachary's going to go up to 26. A Heretic Ritual to draw here for Caleb. I'm curious to see what kind of hand Caleb did keep.
I don't think you would have stopped me because we weren't thinking about that.
So he's got a Shivan Reef, it looks like he's going to play here.
Yeah, and he's on such a fast clock that he needs to do something this turn.
Pyretic Ritual. Shattering Spray. Okay, that's what I thought we might see. So Vault Scourge, Cranial Plating, Mox Opal. And kill all of those. Zachary wants to take a look at the Replicate Sorcery, and we can do the same. Back during old original Ravnica block. And is it Favorite? Now, what was the draw? Arcbound Ravager is another power card here.
And this is kind of a tough spot for Zachary. Ideally, he would want to just move in on one of his creatures here and put his opponent on 2-turn clock.
Yeah.
But he's just short a couple of artifacts in order to be able to do
I
that.
still kind of want to move in. Just make Ornithopter into a 4-power creature.
Yeah, it's
I still want to play any turns. I hate playing turns, though. Here's a Baral.
just way up in the red zone, that Baral.
Yeah.
Just ready to get at it, yeah. Who's the king of this battlefield here?
Thought it was Archon Ravager.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the chief of compliance.
No, Baral knows.
There's a Blink Moth Nexus for Zachary.
Shrug, let's do it.
Might as well. Got some attacking to do. Don't think Brawl has much interest in blocking. I'm curious what Zachary's last card is. It could be some sort of colored spell.
Well, the worst possible for him is just another mana source, right?
Yeah, that'd be terrible. He's going to start by sacrificing some artifacts. Now it's time to up the clock here. Attacking for 1 with Archon Ravager is not going to do it. He's going to eat a Darksteel Citadel. Curious to see if he wants to eat an Ornithopter or not. Yep, he's going to eat an Ornithopter. Caleb will give a big thumbs up to that. And it's just going to be an attack for 3. Would have preferred to see an attack for 4 there if possible, as there's a peer through depths, just because you want to shorten the game as much as you can. And this is where there's the separation between the people who are awesome with Affinity and the people who are still kind of learning or okay with Affinity, because you just got to shorten the game, and it's just a numbers game.
Sure, I think the attack for 3 here, he can still finish the game in 2 turns.
I hope so.
You know, he left an Ornithopter around, so he has an evasive threat. He left the Blink Moth Nexus around, so you could potentially dump counters onto that. So it seems like Zachary does have a game plan here.
I would hate to see Caleb kind of get to do his thing at 1 life.
Oh, yeah.
Basically. When you're playing Affinity, because you don't have a lot of reach outside of Galvanic Blast, you can't leave any points on the table. That's the biggest thing about the deck. Caleb going to peer through depths here.
Yep.
He is not sure what he's found, actually. He moved a card pretty quickly to the front of his hand.
And paying 1 to look at 5 cards is a great rate.
Yeah. Aha, gifts ungiven. I wonder if it's go time for our Storm player. I think I just had my question answered.
Keep wondering, sir.
Desperate Ritual is spell number 2. He let things off with the peer through depths. That's an island. Here comes a gifts on give on. So that's good.
And I expect to see the usual here.
That's Pyretic, Desperate, Manamorphose, and Past in Flames?
Yep.
You think we can go that route already?
I mean, it's possible that he already has one of the payoff cards in his hand.
This Storm deck might be pretty good.
Every time we see it on camera, it does look very strong.
Yeah, the card I was going to mention that he might dig up here is Shattering Spree.
Sure.
Maybe.
Well, especially, like I say, if he already has a Past in Flames.
Tell you what, Zach ain't going to give it to him. I don't think that's happening, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. He's going to give him Ritual. He's going to give him all the mana in the world. Here's Pyretic. He's up to 3. Desperate's going to bring him up to 5. He's got Past in Flames in his hand. It's going to cost 3 instead of 4. Spell 6. Reload. Reload.
We're going to do this all again.
Yeah, I think Zachary's going to be left with not a lot of permanents after this, too.
I don't know if Caleb's even going to need to worry about the permanents.
Might not even have the Shattering Spree.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he doesn't have to play on anything right now. Zachary's got access to no colored mana. Mindbreak Trap's not really a card that sees play in Modern. Is Caleb going to draw a card for the Manamorphose? He's on spell 9. Now, Zachary's at 26. I still think Caleb can get the job done.
Yeah.
But worth noting.
Yeah, Caleb had the extra turn this game. It went to 4 turn 4 instead of going off on turn 3. So just having the extra lands available to him is very big here.
Mm-hmm. Caleb looking pretty at home right now with his Storm deck. Going to get Grape Shot, Manamorphose into the graveyard, so he's going to have to start a second graveyard, of course, which he knows. And Pyretic and Desperate will be cast. Some more mana for our Storm Mage. And more importantly, more spells. As he's up to spell 12. He's going to play a Past in Flames, which will be spell number 13. Going to flash it back, which means he'll get access to this other graveyard now. Put them in all one big stack. Caleb's saying, how many more spells do I have to cast? Desperate. Got some Piers. Got a Manamorphose. He's on spell 13. So, looks like he's still got some work to do. Pyretic.
Yeah, and like you said, I expect him to get there. He has the Manamorphose, just going to draw another card. Given some blue sources, he can start casting those Peer Through Depths if he wants to. Find more rituals, more Manamorphose, whatever it may be.
Another Gifts Ungiven. Another Grape Shot, so on and so forth.
Yeah. Oh, another Grape Shot would close out the game easily.
Make it super easy for him.
Kablooey.
There's a Shattering Spree. All right, that's a...
Sure, I'll blow up that one too.
There's Pier. 6, 12, 18, 20 spells so far.
Yeah, and the Bolt's going to do it.
So we got 18, 21 spells right now. Bunch of red mana floating. Yeah, that's going to do it. Caleb Scherer's going to win this match over Zachary Alexander pretty easily, as Blue Art Gift Storm is going to destroy Affinity. The starts just weren't fast enough there for Zachary.
And it looks like the last card in Zach's hand was a Spell Pierce.
Yep. I had a feeling it was going to be a colored spell.
Colored spell.
Losing that Mox was very difficult there for Zach. And, you know, this is part of the sideboard plan here for Caleb. Now, we've looked at sideboards a lot